At our 8th wedding anniversary dinner, my wife walked into Romano's, the same upscale Italian restaurant where we'd shared our first kiss under candlelight, where I'd nervously proposed over tiramisu and Chianti, not alone, but arm in arm with another man. I was already seated at our usual table near the window, the one with the view of the city lights glinting off the river. I'd arrived early, as I always did, wanting to savor the quiet before the storm of celebration began. I'd ordered the same bottle of Barolo we'd drunk that first night. I'd even had the waiter place fresh roses on the table, red, velvety, perfect. I wanted it to feel like magic again. And then she walked in. Not with the hesitant smile I'd expected after 8 years of marriage, not with the warmth of someone who still saw me as her home, but with the confident stride of a woman who had already made up her mind. And beside her, tall, broad-shouldered, impeccably dressed in a charcoal suit that screamed, "Successful entrepreneur," was Derek Patterson. She didn't hesitate, didn't glance around nervously, didn't look guilty. She didn't even pause when she saw me waiting there, heart still beating for the woman I thought I knew. "Mark," she said, voice clear, calm, almost cheerful. "This is Derek." She slid into the chair across from me as if this were a casual business lunch. Derek sat beside her, his eyes darting between us like a man caught mid-heist. He looked uncomfortable, not because he was nervous about being discovered, but because he realized suddenly that this wasn't the arrangement he'd been sold. I didn't speak, didn't flinch, didn't raise my voice. I folded my hands gently on the tablecloth, fingers laced, and waited. Sarah took a breath. Her lips curled into that small, smug smile I'd seen once before. Right after she'd lied to me about missing my mother's funeral because work was crazy. That smile meant she believed she'd just checkmated me. "We need to talk," she said, as if we were discussing a missed deadline, not the collapse of everything we'd built. I nodded slowly. "Okay. I've been thinking a lot about us," she continued, glancing at Derek, who shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "About what I want, what I need, and I've realized I need more excitement, more freedom, more possibility." She paused. Let the silence stretch. Let me feel the weight of it. "So," she announced as if unveiling a grand revelation, "starting today, our marriage is going to be open." I repeated it back to her, quietly, testing the words. "Open?" "Yes," she said, triumphant now. "I want to explore. I want to live. And Derek, he understands me. We're in love." Derek's face flushed crimson. He opened his mouth, closed it, looked down at his menu like it might save him. The waiter appeared then, clipboard in hand, smiling politely. "Good evening. May I start you with drinks?" I ordered a neat whiskey, 2 fingers, no ice. Sarah ordered a bottle of Pinot Grigio for herself and Derek. The waiter left. The room felt too loud, too bright. The clinking of silverware, the murmur of other diners celebrating anniversaries of their own. It all blurred into a cruel symphony. I took a slow sip of my whiskey. The burn settled in my chest like truth. Then I turned to Derek. "Derek," I said, voice steady, calm, almost gentle. "Did Sarah tell you she was married when you two started seeing each other?" His eyes widened. He swallowed hard. She said you were separated, that you were in the process of getting divorced, that you'd already agreed to it." I leaned forward slightly. "Separated?" I looked at Sarah. "Funny, because I've been paying the mortgage on this house, all of it, every month, for 8 years. I've been covering the car payments, both of them. I've been funding your salary at my company, which I founded and run. I've been paying your credit cards, your insurance, your damn yoga classes. You haven't worked a day since you joined my firm that wasn't paid by me. So tell me, Sarah, how exactly are we separated?" Her smile cracked just a little, a fissure in the porcelain mask. "Mark, don't be dramatic," she muttered. "Dramatic?" I laughed, soft, low, bitter. "You want dramatic? Let me give you dramatic." I set my glass down with deliberate care. "Here's what's going to happen, Sarah. Monday morning, first thing, I'm sending HR a full report detailing your romantic relationship with Derek Patterson, a client of our firm. Patterson Construction. The Morrison account. 3-year contract. $200,000 in annual revenue. You've been meeting with him during business hours, using company email, using our client management system to coordinate your rendezvous. Hotel bookings charged to the corporate card, lunches billed as client consultations. You think I didn't notice the pattern? The locations, the times? The way your expense reports kept matching up with hotel check-ins in downtown Chicago, 3 blocks from your office? I pulled out my phone, unlocked it, scrolled, and slid it across the table toward Derek. Here's an email chain, I said, from your work account sent to him last month. Can't wait to see you tonight. Room 412, same as last time. Derek stared at it, his hands trembled. And here's a calendar invite, I continued, labeled Client Review Meeting, Derek Patterson. Date, Friday, June 14th. Time, 7:30 p.m. Location, the Ritz-Carlton, Suite 1802. I looked back at Sarah. You think I don't know what happens in hotel suites at 7:30 p.m.? Her face had gone completely white. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. There's more, I said. Your parents, the ones who still believe you're their sweet church-going angel, the daughter who never strayed, the girl who brought them grandchildren they'll never have, they deserve to know why their daughter's marriage is ending. Not because I'm cold, not because I'm cruel, but because you chose to lie to them. To me. To everyone. Sarah lunged across the table, grabbing my wrist. Mark, please, don't tell them. Please, they can't know. I gently, deliberately peeled her fingers off my skin. You involved them, I said. When you decided to destroy our marriage, when you walked into this restaurant with another man and declared our vows meaningless, they deserve the truth, not your fairy tale. Derek stood up so abruptly his chair screeched backward. This is insane, he whispered. Sarah, you told me he was okay with this. You said you'd talked about opening the relationship. We did, Sarah stammered, voice cracking. Mark's just being vindictive. Vindictive? I let out a dry chuckle. No, Derek, this isn't vengeance. This is consequence. You made a choice tonight. You chose him. Over us. Over everything we built. And that's fine. But I'm not subsidizing your new life. I'm not financing your affair. I'm not paying for your freedom while you pretend you're still my wife. He looked at her, really looked at her for the first time. Not as a fantasy, not as a secret thrill, but as a woman who had lied to him about everything. Her marriage, her finances, her integrity. You lied to me, he said, voice hollow. About him, about your money, about being separated. You told me you were independent. You told me you didn't need anyone. I am, she whispered. He shook his head. I can't do this. This whole thing. It's shit. You're not who you said you were. He grabbed his jacket, threw a 20 on the table, far more than the wine cost, and walked out without looking back. The restaurant had gone silent. Waiters froze. Other patrons glanced over, whispering. Someone nearby dropped a fork. It clattered loudly. Sarah stared after him, panic blooming across her features like ink in water. Derek, wait, she called out, voice trembling. But he was gone. She turned back to me, tears welling now, her carefully constructed armor crumbling. Mark, she begged, voice raw, we can fix this. I made a mistake. We can go to counseling. We can try again. I finished my whiskey, set the glass down. The marriage ended Saturday night, I said. When you brought him here, when you smiled at him like he was your salvation, when you treated me like an obstacle, I stood. The check is under your name at the hostess stand. Figure out how to pay for it. Consider it practice. Practice for your new life, the one where you're on your own. I walked out. The cool night air hit me like a baptism. I drove home, to our home, the house I'd bought with my savings before we met. The one I'd refinanced twice to keep it after she lost her previous job. The one whose mortgage I still paid in full every month. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat in the dark living room, staring at the photo of us on the mantel, laughing on the beach in Santorini, arms wrapped around each other, sunlight catching her hair. That was the woman I thought I married. The woman who sat across from me tonight was a stranger. The next morning, I went to Jim Morrison's office. My college roommate, now a divorce attorney with a reputation for turning toxic marriages into clean exits. We sat over coffee in his quiet corner booth, sunlight streaming through the blinds. She brought her lover to your anniversary dinner, Jim said, shaking his head slowly. That's cold, even by divorce standards. It gets worse, I said. She works for me, at my firm. And Derek Patterson? He's our biggest client. Their affair has been ongoing for 3 months, using company resources, scheduling meetings during work hours, charging hotels to the corporate card. I have emails, calendar logs, receipts, everything. Jim's eyes lit up. That's actually good news. How? Clear policy violation. Documented conflict of interest. Termination is ironclad. No severance, no lawsuit. You don't owe her anything. And financially, joint accounts, house. You've been carrying everything? Yes. Then you're in a position of strength, he said. I'll file immediately. Request temporary orders. Freeze joint accounts. Preserve assets. Prevent her from selling or transferring property. We lock everything down before she can touch it. What about her family, as I asked? Her parents. Ultra-religious, conservative. They still think she's perfect. Church every Sunday. Volunteering at the food pantry. They have no idea. Jim leaned forward. Do you plan to tell them? I nodded. They deserve to know. Before the court filings. Before the media leaks. Before the gossip starts. So I called Linda, Sarah's mother, that Sunday evening. She answered with her usual warmth. Mark, how was your anniversary? I hope you had a beautiful dinner. I took a breath. Linda, Sarah and I are getting divorced. Silence, then, what? She brought another man to our dinner, a client, Derek Patterson. They've been having an affair for 3 months. She told me our marriage was going to be open. She's been lying to you, to me, to everyone. The sound she made, a choked, guttural gasp, was the sound of a mother's world collapsing. No, she whispered. No, that's not possible. Sarah wouldn't. She did, I said gently. I wish I had better news. Where is she? She cried. She stayed at a hotel last night. We haven't spoken since. I heard Robert come up behind her. Linda, who is it? She handed him the phone. He didn't say much at first, just breathed heavily. Then, son, I'm so sorry. We had no idea, none. I know, I said. You raised her better than this, he added, voice thick with grief. I tried, I said. I really did. We appreciate you telling us first, Robert said, before the papers, before the lawyers. Thank you. I didn't want you to hear it from someone else. There was a long silence, then, we'll pray for you, Mark, and for her, even though we can't support what she's done. I understand, I said. After I hung up, I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the ceiling. I felt guilty, but I also felt clean. For the first time in years, I wasn't protecting her. I was protecting myself. Monday morning, I walked into HR. Margaret, our director, was a no-nonsense former Marine with a razor-sharp mind and zero tolerance for ethical breaches. Mark, she said, not looking up from her screen, what can I do for you? I need to report a serious violation of company policy. She looked up. Sarah has been engaged in a sexual relationship with Derek Patterson, a major client, for the past 3 months. Meetings scheduled during work hours. Communications routed through company email. Personal expenses charged to corporate cards. She used our CRM system to coordinate clandestine dates. She lied to clients about her marital status. She misrepresented our firm's relationship with Patterson Construction. Margaret didn't blink. Documentation? I have it all, I said. Emails, calendar entries, receipts, expense reports, HR logs, even security footage from the hotel lobby from one of their meetings. She exhaled slowly. This is egregious. Violation of Section 4. 2B. Conflict of interest and employee conduct with clients. We're talking immediate termination. When? I'll initiate a formal investigation. Interview both parties. Review all evidence. Preliminary findings will be ready in 72 hours. Understood. That afternoon, Sarah stormed into my office unannounced, eyes wild, cheeks flushed. You bastard! She spat. HR called me in for some bullshit investigation. You set this up. This is revenge. It's not revenge, Mike said calmly. It's policy. You violated it repeatedly, deliberately, and now you're going to lose your job because of it. She slammed her palms on my desk. I'll fight this. Wrongful termination. I'll sue you. Go ahead, I said. Margaret has screenshots of you sending him love notes from your work computer. She has invoices for the hotel stay where you spent Valentine's Day. She has texts where you bragged about how Mark is clueless. You think this is a game? You think I haven't been documenting every lie since the first one? Her bravado cracked. Mark, please, I can stop seeing him. We can go to therapy. We can fix this. I don't want to fix it, I said. I want to end it. He called me yesterday, she whispered. Who? Derek. He said he couldn't do it anymore. Said I got too clingy. Said I started talking about him supporting me financially. He said he never promised that. He said he didn't want to be part of our divorce. Her face crumpled. He ended it. He did. She sat down heavily, put her head in her hands, whispered, I shit up. That's right, I said softly. You did. Tuesday, Margaret confirmed. Sarah was terminated, effective immediately. Wednesday, Jim called with news. The court granted our temporary orders. Joint accounts frozen, assets preserved. She couldn't sell the house, withdraw funds, or transfer property without court approval. She's panicked, Jim said. Her lawyer called this morning, wants to settle. What's their offer? Standard 50-50 split. She wants to keep the house. Impossible, I said. She makes $62,000 a year. The mortgage is $3,200. She can't afford it without her salary, which she just lost. Exactly. So they'll have to come to terms. Thursday evening, Sarah's mom called again. Mark, we haven't heard from Sarah. She won't answer her phone. We've tried calling, texting, even going to her apartment. Nothing. She's avoiding us, I said. We've made a decision, Linda said, voice trembling. We love Sarah, we always will. But we can't enable this behavior anymore. We told her, if she wants to come back to the family, she needs professional help. Therapy, counseling. We won't speak to her until she takes that step. I closed my eyes. Thank you, I whispered. For what? For loving her enough to let her go. Friday, a woman I'd never met showed up at my office. She introduced herself as Jessica, Sarah's cousin from Phoenix. I flew in this morning, she said. Sarah called me crying, begged me to let her stay with me while she gets back on her feet. I looked at her. And what did you say? I said no, but not because I hate her, because I know her. She pulled out her phone. 3 days ago, Sarah posted this on Facebook, she said, showing me a screenshot. She wrote, My husband is emotionally abusive. He isolated me from everyone. He controlled my money. He destroyed my career. I'm finally free. I read it. My stomach twisted. I commented, Jessica said. Asked for details. She couldn't provide any. So I started asking others, family, friends, people she's manipulated over the years. She scrolled. Remember when she claimed she had a miscarriage? Turned out it was a false positive. She faked the symptoms to get sympathy. Remember when she said you fired her from her last job because you discriminated against women? You didn't even hire her then. She quit because she stole from the till. Remember when she said she had severe anxiety and couldn't work? She was secretly dating 3 men at once. One of them was her boss. Jessica looked at me, eyes filled with sorrow. She's been doing this for years, Mark. Lying, manipulating, playing victim. And you. You were the only one who stuck around. I didn't move. Why are you telling me this? Because my aunt and uncle are good people. And they've been poisoned by their own daughter's lies. And because I needed you to know you weren't crazy. You weren't imagining things. You weren't the bad guy. She placed a business card on my desk. This is my attorney in Phoenix. If she escalates, if she stalks you, harasses you, files false claims, call him. He's handled cases like this before. Women like Sarah. I picked up the card. Thank you. She stood. Be careful. Desperate people do desperate things. Saturday passed quietly. I thought maybe she'd given up. I thought maybe she'd accepted reality. I was wrong. Monday morning, a certified letter arrived from a lawyer I'd never heard of. representing Sarah, accusing me of wrongful termination, sexual harassment, emotional abuse, financial coercion, demanding I reinstate her employment immediately and pay $250,000 in damages. I called Jim. "They're desperate," he said. "This is a Hail Mary. Sexual harassment? You're married to her. There's no legal basis. But they're trying to scare you into backing down. What do I do? Respond with everything. Every email, every receipt, every log. We expose her affair, her fraud, her manipulation, and then, if she doesn't back down, we countersue for defamation, for extortion, for intentional infliction of emotional distress. She'll ruin me," I said. "She won't," Jim said, "because you've got the truth. And the truth, it doesn't need to scream. It just needs to be documented." Tuesday, Margaret knocked on my door, pale. "Mark, we have a problem." "What?" "Sarah's been calling our clients, directly. Calling Derek's office manager, saying you're harassing her. Trying to sabotage their business relationship." "Did they believe her?" "No. Derek's manager hung up on her. But she called Morrison Industries, Blackstone Development. Same story. Claimed you were sabotaging her career, threatening to take down their contracts. Are we exposed?" "Minimal," Margaret said. "All 3 clients called you directly to verify. They know the truth. But legally? This is interference with business relationships. It's actionable. Can we get a restraining order? Talk to your lawyer, now." I called Jim. Within 2 hours, we had an emergency hearing scheduled for Thursday. Wednesday evening, Robert called. "Mark, we heard what Sarah's been doing at your office with the clients." "She called my parents," I said. "She screamed at them," Robert said. "Told them you were destroying her reputation, turning everyone against her." He paused. "We made a decision. We're not taking her calls anymore. We told her, if she wants reconciliation, she goes to therapy. Until then, no contact." I didn't answer for a long time. "Was that hard?" I finally asked. "The hardest thing we've ever done," he said. "But we can't watch her destroy more lives." Thursday morning, the courtroom was small, sterile. Sarah didn't show. Her lawyer argued that this was merely a bitter divorce dispute. The judge listened, then looked at the evidence we presented. The client interference logs, the text messages threatening business partners, the history of manipulative behavior. He ruled instantly. Restraining order granted. Sarah was barred from contacting my workplace, my employees, my clients. Any violation would result in arrest. That afternoon, Jim called. "They're ready to settle." What changed? The restraining order. Plus, her parents cut her off completely. She has no money, no job, no safety net. She can't afford a trial. What are the terms? House sells, proceeds split 60-40. You get 60 after mortgage payoff. She keeps her personal accounts, her car, her jewelry. You keep the business, investments, retirement. No alimony, no spousal support. And her accusations? They'll drop all claims in exchange for a clean, uncontested divorce. When do we sign? Next week. The house sold within a month. She walked away with $25,000. Not enough to buy a condo in Phoenix, not enough to start over comfortably. But more than she deserved. I heard rumors she moved into a studio apartment, worked retail, started dating again. Someone said she was applying to nursing school. Another said she was living with a man who owned a tattoo parlor. I didn't care. I stopped checking. I stopped wondering. On December 12th, the divorce was finalized. I walked into court alone. She appeared via Zoom from Arizona. Her lawyer filed the paperwork. The judge signed. 8 years, gone. With a stamp, a signature, a file closing. I walked out. The sky was gray, but the air smelled clean. I drove to my new apartment, smaller, simpler, mine. Opened a bottle of wine I'd saved for our 10th anniversary. Deleted Sarah's number from my phone. Turned off notifications from her social media. Let the silence fill the space. That night, I got a Facebook friend request. Jennifer Walsh. Profile picture, a woman with warm brown eyes, standing in front of a chalkboard, smiling at children. Teacher, divorced, No drama, no hashtags, no filters. Message: Jim Morrison suggested I reach out. Coffee sometime? I stared at her photo. Real, grounded, kind. I typed back. Coffee sounds good. And for the first time in years, I smiled. Not because I was happy, but because I was finally free. And I was ready, truly ready, to begin again.